Hey, what's up? It's Jay Pavlina here. This is the commentary for Lunch Fu. And in this movie, I was the writer, director, editor, pretty much everything besides acting. So, this was like a pretty big deal for me because this was the last movie I made before I went to college. So, at this point, I had like all my hopes and dreams, about college being awesome and me learning a lot. And so I was like, since I'm going to learn so much in college, I'll make a movie like that tests my skills so that I can look back in it and see how much like more awesome I got from the stuff I learned in college. Which is funny because I didn't really learn that much in college, which I'll talk more about in the movies that are the videos I made in college. But anyway, and the other funny thing is that originally this wasn't even supposed to be a movie. It was just supposed to be like I was just testing some special effects with a blue screen because I never used a blue screen before. At least I didn't do a lot of. I did a little bit of blue screen stuff before, but this one I wanted to do blue screen stuff where like the characters were like interacting with each other and stuff. So it started out as just a little tech demo, but then I was like, well, if I'm, testing out some stuff, maybe I should make a story about it. And I was like, oh, if I'm doing a story, I could do like a little fight scene. And then I was like, oh, if I'm doing a fight scene, maybe I could try putting in some more story and make it a little bit more dramatic. And this was the first movie where I tried to do like actual serious drama, which doesn't really work out very well. I'll talk more about it when it shows up, and then I'll probably talk a bit more after. I guess that's all the introduction you need. And also at this time, I worked for this guy, like making videos and documentaries for him. And I became good friends with him, and we actually shot this like right across the street from his studio. So it was pretty convenient. Not that we needed a lot of like special filmmaking equipment because I was just on the camera. We didn't really use any equipment or anything. But it was still pretty convenient to be close to like a home base, basically. But yeah, let's get it started. I'm actually watching this on YouTube, but as I do the commentary. Wouldn't that be funny if like when I was watching it, it like didn't download in time and I had to wait? So I don't really like this now looking back on it. That I was trying to do like a movie version of the logo. It didn't really work. But this title I really like. I kind of like after he punches it, he gets tired, and then I want the audience to be like, "What's going on?" And then he screams, and then they're like, "Whoa, what the hell?" So that was, I kind of like to play with people's reactions, so that was kind of what that was right there. I really like how that part turned out. Oh, by the way, I love this movie. This is probably my second favorite movie I've ever done. Just because this is exactly the type of movie I like to make. The comedy's like so exaggerated, and it's got some fighting, which is always fun. And it's got just stuff that you can't do in real life, which is like always the best. He was supposed to squirt them both out at the same time, but he messed up. But I was like, whatever. And that flipping was just some stupid blue screen stuff. Oh yeah, one thing I should mention is that the dubbing was they always said different stuff than what you actually hear. And some of the stuff they said was so funny. And that's the bad guy. So the guy in the pink shirt is Andrew, one of my best friends. And then that guy is Dave. He was the guy I worked for. So it was pretty cool. And then this sign, I was trying to establish his name. I probably could have done it in a better way. But it's supposed to be kind of like a Looney Tunes cartoon where like he's Jack Chef and the other guy's Tom Cook. So I don't know. And their conflict is totally exaggerated too. Like it's over a picnic area. It's supposed to be really silly. And then he takes that as like, you know, an insult or whatever. But it's kind of like the two fathers are like on a different, they live in a completely different world than these other people. Like these other characters are kind of more realistic, and then they're like just crazy exaggerated. Like when they talk, it doesn't even match. So that was kind of the idea. And then he laughs right here. You kind of see him smiling. I didn't catch it when I was filming. Otherwise, I would have made him do it again. I like those intros that they do. Oh, and also, I forgot to mention this music is awesome. It was, I found a guy in college to do the music. So, and see, this was, I was like testing out some special effects. Like he's throwing a hot dog at him, which doesn't really make sense. Then he eats the hot dog, which is to show that he's like dominant over him. Like he's nullifying his attack, basically. To kind of show, because this, I mean, this movie's all about their egos and like them being better than each other. Well, I mean, it's really just about the comedy, but I was kind of like trying to do a lot of different things when I made this. I like how he jumps here. I like the slow motion stuff. If I were to do it now, I could do smoother slow motion because cameras are more advanced now. I like this part. This is awesome. He's like laughing. Also, on a hand just punches him in the face. I really like the music there too. It's just so funny. And then, you know, he's like, "Oh, I've got you now." And, you know, he like has to like remember that he has another arm. It's like totally unrealistic. But oh, and by the way, he was supposed to fall over the bench, but he kind of copped out. He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do it," but he told me he would do it. So it kind of sucks when an actor tells you they'll do something, but then they don't do it. And everyone likes the kids in this movie, but I have to say, like, I kind of like, I was trying too hard to put like a real story into it when I should have just, it's kind of confusing. I can talk more about it afterwards, but their story doesn't really work that well with the fighting. Like it's kind of forced. So, but this is my first time experimenting with like a script, you know, and like an actual story that you can like connect to instead of just complete silliness. So but still, it's awesome. I kind of recut it. This wasn't the way it was supposed to be cut, so I kind of cut out a lot of stuff from this movie. This was just a really simple effect. I didn't feel like spending a lot of time on it. That right there is actually me. I am actually in this movie, but when he was flying through the air, that was me wearing his clothes. Just because he had to leave when I had to film that. That was done with the blue screen. You know, I just like to, when I do fight scenes, I like to keep them interesting, so they kind of move to different locations and like use different props when they're fighting, like the swings. You know, like I said, it's all about their egos and stuff, so it's like one of them says something and then the other one like does something and then he says something. It's like they're always trying to one-up each other. And for some reason they have like superpowers where they could jump and stuff, because they don't live in the real world, but these kids do. So he tries to jump. See, I was trying to be all serious here, like where he's like trying to be like his dad and he gets hurt because of it, but it doesn't really work. Should have just kind of kept with the comedy, but it's all right. You know, I was learning at the time. This part turned out pretty cool. Like he really seemed like he's gonna kill him, probably because of the music is done so well. And this is fun, you know. It's like a new segment where they're using tools. Like I said, I like to keep the fight scenes fresh, and most of my fight scenes are more comedic. They're not really like fighting. So, you know, this is like it's kind of like a little dance number, a little bit. Just kind of a little fun segment. A lot of people like this part, where he's just kind of like dancing around and deflecting everything with no effort. Just, you know, showing more like Looney Tunes type stuff, like it's a cartoon basically. And that was just done by throwing the actual silverware at a blue screen, and then I mapped them to the spatula so that they would hit the right part. It was pretty easy. I thought it was going to be harder than it was. I like this part. He just like goes on the table, and he's just like showing like, I'm awesome, I got you now, basically, like. And he's like, "Oh, what's going on? You know, like, what are you doing?" He just screams. It's awesome. This part looks so fake. I love it. I really like how fake this stuff looks. It's really cool. I'd actually like to make it look a little bit more different if I had more tools available, but it's pretty good though.
Jack, are you okay?
And whatever, the family's just sitting there. Like I said, there used to be a lot more parts with the family, but it kind of conflicted with the original, with the rest of the movie, so I kind of took out most of it to just keep it focused on the kids. By the way, this part, this is my favorite, probably my favorite thing I've ever done in a movie. I don't know if I'll be able to top this joke. I'm sure I will eventually, but this is my favorite joke I've ever done. It's so funny.
What?
It's so dumb. He's just like, hey, can you stand right here? And these guys are enemies. That's why it doesn't make any sense.
Why?
I remember right there, he actually said butterfly, just a little note. And then he just kicks him. Ah, it's so funny. I love that.
Backstabber. A true culinary martial artist.
When he calls them a culinary martial artist, it's just kind of a joke that they're cooks. So then we go back to the kids. You can tell right there the music was actually different right there, but since I cut some stuff out, the music doesn't match perfectly, but it works a lot better with this edit. You should have seen the way it used to be. It was kind of boring, but this kind of keeps it focused on the fight, and then there's just a little bit other stuff going on to keep you interested. This part turned out pretty cool, the shadows. That wasn't my idea. I think that was Dave's idea to film the shadows. So it's a pretty cool idea. This works out pretty well too. This was edited to make it look like like those were actually two separate shots that I combined together. Like he wasn't really like jumping on his head right there because that'd be really dangerous. So they both jumped at different times, and then you can actually see the tripod in one of those shots right there, but whatever. But I love this stuff, and the music is perfect. You know, these are just little jokes. You know, they're just kind of like toying with each other. Doesn't really make any sense, but that's why it's awesome. And then he just disappears, and then, you know, it's like a cartoon. So he's like, oh, where'd he go? And then, oh, he's there. Oh, punch him in the face. I like to do first-person shots like that. You've seen a few other first-person shots. I kind of like to do... Oh, this is awesome. I love how he says that line. It's like so like dramatic. By the way, this took 10 days of shooting, I forgot to mention, so this was a lot of shooting. It seems simple, but this took forever. This is supposed to be like their ultimate fight, and they were supposed to be evenly matched here, but I think they were both so tired, and I was kind of tired too. We didn't really get that part quite right. So that part actually didn't really turn out like I wanted, but it's still fine. Because Dave gets beat up a little bit too much. Oh, and I like here that super flying man attack. Like, he calls it the super flying man attack. It's really funny. He's always like so confident.
I'm not afraid. We will settle this now, chef.
It's just, I love how this turned out. I would do the ending differently if I went back now, but it's not really... I mean, this was just an experiment for me. I mean, you can't tell when you're watching it, you don't know what my original intentions were, but this was all just an experiment, me experimenting with, like, story and, like, throwing in a little bit of drama that doesn't work. I thought that was funny. I just had her eating a hamburger because it's, like, a dramatic section, but... Oh, dude, my friends thought the way he said that was so funny. They laughed forever. It's really weird. But yeah, this... Oh, I had to redo that shot because he was wearing the wrong shoe for some reason. Because those shots were done at a different time on a blue screen, and he was wearing the wrong shoe for some reason. Or I think I did it actually. I was just holding the wrong shoe. So anyway, if you notice the colors change, like the colors are more realistic now. It's supposed to show that like it's back in the real world now. And this scene used to be longer too, but I kept it short because I was trying to cut out the drama, because the drama didn't really work. Not because of them, they were really good actors, but it's just, I'll tell you a little bit more in a minute. But then these are the, you know, the credits. I want to do like some cool credits that kind of like fit the feel of the movie, so I kind of make the credits like move around and like they're just kind of fun. This movie is just all about like fun, cartoony kind of stuff. I like cartoon stuff. Like I said, I don't really like. Look at that, 2004, man. At least I changed the name to Exploding Rabbit. All these movies were originally made under a different name, which was Owls Entertainment was my old production company. So I love that movie. Like I said, it's my second favorite movie I've done. Oh, someone making noise outside. Hope you can't hear it. But it turned out really well. It was a lot of hard work. I filmed it before I went to college, but then in my first year of college, I spent a lot of time like editing it. And I did a lot of weird post-production stuff because I was trying to make up for mistakes that I made while filming. Because I made a lot of mistakes while filming that. We also shot on a wide-angle lens to make it look more like, to make the movements and, everything look more exaggerated. It's also known as a fisheye lens. It makes things kind of like bend, like it gives you a different perspective. But because I did that, the camera was, it's hard to explain, but I had to do a lot of post-production stuff to fix up the shots because they were kind of messed up. So this movie took me forever to edit, basically, the post-production. And like even in a lot of shots, if you look closely, you can see that I like colored in the sky because like a lot of it was overcast. Like some days we shot, it was sunny, and some days were overcast. And you can't really, when you're shooting outside, that's just something you have to deal with. And especially in the Midwest, there's like a lot of overcast. In like a place like California, it's like mostly sunny every day. I think that's why Hollywood is in California, probably, because it's hard to get continuity when you're shooting outside. There's tons of stuff I could say about this movie. Try to remember everything I said I would talk about, but like with the story, it was basically like, this was my first time I decided like I want to try like, oh, do I have what it takes to write like a compelling story with like some real drama. And because of that, like the story with like the kids and like the like at the end when they like kick each other and it gets all like kind of preachy and realistic, that doesn't really fit with the rest of the movie. So it's kind of forced on you. I should have just kept it more of the cartoony feel for the whole thing, but it is still kind of interesting to see the contrast. This edit of the film works way better than the previous edit, which was, there was a lot more stuff with the family and like the moms had a lot more scenes. I'm sure, actors don't like to be cut out of movies, but you have to do what's best for the movie, even if it's going to hurt people's feelings. You have to, making the movie the best it can be is the most important. And, as a director and a writer, you'll always make a lot of mistakes along the way, and sometimes your mistakes will affect other people. So that's why you try to get people that are really cool to work with, and like they understand that making a movie is like really hard and that unexpected things happen along the way. So you want to find people that are cool with anything happening. So yeah. And then I hope you guys don't mind that I keep talking, but another big thing about this movie was that I was really proud of this movie. And I finished it while I was in my first semester at college. And I was like so proud of it that I asked my teacher in one of my film classes, the same class that I shoot the black and white silent films for. I asked him if I could bring my movie in and show it to the class and like get some feedback on it. And that incident kind of like, it was like the most confusing thing I've ever seen. It like kind of like scarred me artistically and creatively, because I love the movie. It's pretty much exactly how I wanted it to be. Like the comedy is really funny and it's the exact style that I was going for. And then I brought it into my class and I showed it to them, and I was like expecting everyone to like it. And dude, like everyone except for one person, like all they had to say was negative things about it. And to me, it's just kind of a joke. Like the movie is just, it's just a joke. It's just two people fighting, and like the kids aren't kids. They're actually older, but they pretend like they're kids. So to me, it was all just, big, just a goofy thing. And then I brought it to this class, and I was kind of new. I was new to film school. I didn't know how people were. And everyone in film school is all like artsy. They're like, well, like the first comment someone made was, well, those kids, they're not as young as they're supposed to be. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's just, they're just my friends. They're like, yeah, it really takes away from the film. And they're just saying all this serious stuff. And then my teacher was like, he's like, yeah, I feel the same way. He's like, you need to cut out all the fighting parts and just make the movie focus on the family talking. He's like, the family talking, he's like, are the most interesting parts of the movie. He's like, the fighting parts are, they're just kind of boring and there's no depth to them. So that was basically like what people said. They were like, yeah, it just doesn't really work as a movie. It's not funny. Like you need to focus on the dialogue. You need to write better dialogue, and like, you need to re-edit this and cut out all the fighting and just have the family talking, like the mother's talking, which you didn't see much, and the kids talking. I was like so fucking messed up by that because I was so confused because I was like, but I love how the movie turned out. And I didn't say that. And like, when you're an artist and then you release something that you made, okay, whenever an artist shows something to you, they're like sharing, a deep part of themselves with you. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a trust. Like they're trusting you. They're like, okay, I'm gonna reveal, this deep part of my true self with you. Please be gentle. So, I was sharing, this work that I loved with, my other film students. They're film students. I thought they would like appreciate, another person's take on making a film. And dude, everyone hated it, except my favorite thing about the experience is that there was one guy in the class, coincidentally, whose name was also Jason. And he came up to me after class. Like I was pretty sad. I mean, I was trying to hide it, but I was like almost crying. I was mostly just confused because I didn't understand like maybe I wasn't good at making movies. Maybe I was wrong, that I didn't know how to make a movie, and that everyone else knows how to make a movie. Because like the teacher, told me I did it wrong, basically. But anyway, this kid came up to me after class, and he's like, dude, that is the funniest movie I've ever seen. He's like, can I have a copy? And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, I got a DVD, and it has like, has like special features. It has like deleted scenes and stuff. He's like, awesome. He's like, I'll pay you for it and stuff. I was like, no, just have it. So I gave him the DVD, and then we became somewhat friends. And then he like called me, and he's like, hey, I have some friends coming over to watch the movie. He was like, I was wondering if you want to come and watch it with us so that they can like ask you about it and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And then so I went, and I watched it with him and his friends, and they were like cracking up. They were like laughing so hard they were like crying and stuff. And that was, man, that guy like saved me practically, man. But still, even though he did that, that just confused me more, because I was like, all right, like these people like it, but these other film students and teachers, they hate it. So I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? So then I went back to the movie and I recut it, doing what the teacher told me to do. I cut out most of the fighting, and then most of the movie was just the talking. I was just, never mind. But yeah, so I cut out the fighting, and then it was just like the talking, and I showed it to the teacher, and he was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, this is a lot better. This is a pretty good movie now. But me, I was like, I didn't say it to him, but I was like, no, it's not. This movie sucks. I was like, it's so boring. Like, why do you want to listen to these people talk? Like, they're just, it's like, that's not the movie I wanted to make. So, it was really hard. It was like really a good learning experience for me because, someone, like an entire group of people who I thought were going to enjoy it actually hated it. And then it just made me think a lot about the type of movies that I want to make and like the type of movies other people like. And you'll see in another movie I did, it's called Romantically Challenged, where I'll talk more about the same situation because my experience with Lunch Fu changed my direction as a filmmaker temporarily. And I made another movie kind of based on the stuff the teacher told me. And that one was called Romantically Challenged. And I'll upload that eventually, probably not for a while, but then I'll tell you more about my, I guess you could call it my journey as like an artist and a filmmaker, and how basically just how you shouldn't listen to what other people say. You should really just do what you want. That's what I concluded in the end, but it took me a few years and a few films to realize that. So this was my experience in my first semester of film school, so it really messed me up emotionally, and just as an artist really confused me, because up until then I thought I was good at making movies, and now I realized, okay, I'm not good at making movies. The type of movies I make aren't good, so I have to change it. So then you'll see how that decision affected me. But then also in the back of my mind, I always had that kid Jason that loved the movie, and he loved it. He loved it so much. He said he just watched it over and over and over again with his friends, and he said that they were like drinking and watching it over and over, and that they were just like cracking up the entire time. So, what would you want? Would you want like a bunch of people that kind of like your movie, or would you want one person that just like loves it more than anything? And I think I would want the one person that loves it more than anything, instead of having a bunch of people kind of like it. So just thought I'd share, since I'm doing these commentaries, I try to share my experience while making the movie and kind of what I learned from it and my thoughts now looking back and stuff. So that was my main experience with that one. This movie alone is probably the one that, well, there's two movies that affected me a lot as an artist, this one and Hero Guy. But this was the one that kind of like changed my direction a bit because of what other people said. It's just a really good lesson about not listening to what other people tell you, and to just make the kind of stuff that you like. Because as I learned later, if you make something that you think other people will like instead of what you like, you will be fucking empty inside, and you will be depressed, and you'll stop enjoying your art, and you'll feel dead on the inside. That happened to me, but don't worry, I recovered. I'll tell you more about it later. Hope you guys are enjoying these commentaries and these like in-depth just an in-depth look at one person's experience as an artist and creating things. So let's try to think if there's anything else I need to say about this movie. And I think that's about covers all the main stuff. It's just really enjoyable movie. A lot of hard work. Like I said, it was like seriously like 10 days of shooting. That is a lot. 10 days of shooting is a lot. And it was really hot while we were filming. And sometimes there were a bunch of kids on the playground. And we would just still film because I was like, whatever. So, yeah. Good times. Learned a lot from making this movie. Post-production. This is the movie I spent longest in post-production. And also Hero Guy. But I think that's about it. That's about all I wanted to say. Hope you learned a bit from my experience, and I hope that my experience with sharing this film and getting the reaction from other people, I hope it can help someone else. You know, you got to do what you're passionate about. Don't expect everyone to like it. Don't expect anyone to like it. That is not what matters. If other people like it, it can help you because then you can make money to keep doing it. But really, really the only thing that matters is that you like it, that you make the kind of art that you like to make, and that's all you do. You don't worry about doing what other people tell you to do, and you don't worry when people tell you you can't do it. Just shut all that stuff out. Just do what you love. Just shout out all the shit, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of people that'll be telling you why you can't do it, why it's not good. Forget all that. Just do it. All right. Sorry. I don't know why. I shouldn't say sorry. I'm not sorry. This is who I am. This is how I feel. And I feel good about it. Hope you took something from this. Okay. Thanks. Bye.